In the year 1901, sponge divers off the coast of a Greek island discovered an ancient Roman shipwreck. It was filled with bronze statues and marble treasures, but they also brought up a single corroded lump of bronze the size of a shoebox. It was dismissed as a rock or a piece of armor. They had no idea they had just recovered the single most technologically sophisticated object from the entire ancient world. The lump was sent to the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, where it sat, forgotten, for months. While scholars studied the priceless statues, the corroded artifact was ignored. One of the divers had claimed he saw a wheel inside it, but no one believed him. How could a simple lump of bronze be more important than statues carved by masters? The object was an afterthought, destined to gather dust in a museum basement. Here's where the story changes forever. In 1902, an archaeologist noticed a crack in the object. Peering inside, he didn't see rock or metal. He saw something that shouldn't exist. It was a gear wheel with perfectly formed triangular teeth. Then he saw another and another. This wasn't a rock. It was a machine, a complex clockwork mechanism of a kind that wasn't thought to be invented for another 1,500 years. The artifact was an impossibility. For the next 50 years, researchers were stumped. The device was too fragile to take apart. They could only guess at its function. Was it a navigational tool, an astrolabe, or just an elaborate toy? The technology was so far beyond anything known from that period that many mainstream historians simply ignored it, considering it an unsolvable anomaly. The gears were a paradox that threatened to rewrite the history of science, and no one knew what to do with it.
The first real breakthrough came in the 1970s when a British science historian named Derek de Solla Price used X-rays to peer inside the corroded case. What he saw was astounding. He mapped out a system of over 30 interlocking gears arranged in a complex and ingenious way. He realized the machine was a calculator of the cosmos, a device for charting the movements of the sun and the moon. But his findings were so radical that many in the academic world dismissed him. But this is the detail that shows how far ahead this technology was. Price identified a differential gear. This is a sophisticated arrangement of gears that can calculate the difference between two inputs. In the known history of technology, the differential gear wasn't invented until the 16th century. Finding one in a 2,000-year-old device was like finding a jet engine in a Roman chariot. The Greeks weren't just skilled, they were masters of a technology we thought they never had. The mystery then went cold for another 3 decades until the early 2000s. A new team of scientists decided to re-examine the mechanism, but this time with cutting-edge technology. They used a custom-built 8-ton CT scanner and advanced photographic imaging to create a complete 3D model of every single gear, every tooth, and every hidden detail, layer by layer. The full, unbelievable genius of the device was about to be revealed. The scans confirmed 37 gears, but they also uncovered something even more important. Thousands of characters of tiny Greek text, like a user's manual, inscribed on the machine's faces and inside its casing. The text had been invisible to the naked eye for millennia. For the first time, the machine could speak for itself. It wasn't just a calculator, it was a teacher, an encyclopedia of astronomical knowledge written in bronze.
The inscriptions revealed the full scope of its functions. The front dial showed the position of the sun and moon against the zodiac, as well as a calendar of 365 days that even accounted for a leap year. Pointers also tracked the 5 planets visible to the naked eye: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. This was not a simple moon calendar. It was a complete model of the known solar system as understood by the ancient Greeks. But here is where it gets weird. The Greeks believed the Earth was the center of the universe. Yet the gear trains for Venus and Mercury were highly complex, designed to model their strange retrograde motion. The math required to build these gear trains was based on astronomical theories from Babylon, but the mechanical execution was purely Greek genius. They had managed to turn complex equations into a physical working machine. The back of the device was even more impressive. It had 2 large spiral dials. One was the Metonic dial, a 235-month cycle used to align the solar and lunar calendars. The other dial was for predicting eclipses. It tracked the 18-year, 11-day, 8-hour Saros cycle with breathtaking precision. The user could simply turn a crank on the side of the box, set it to any date, and the machine would show them which eclipses were due and when. Think about what this means. An ancient Greek scientist could hold the entire cosmos in their hands. They could predict the future of the heavens. Eclipses were often seen as powerful omens, capable of starting wars or toppling kings. A device that could predict them was not just a scientific instrument, it was a source of immense political and social power. This wasn't a toy, it was a tool for rulers and priests.
This leads to the most profound question. If the ancient Greeks could build this, what else did they build? And why was this incredible knowledge completely lost? The fall of Rome is a partial answer, as many texts were burned and skills forgotten. For 1,500 years, nothing of this complexity was made again. It's as if a civilization discovered the secret of electricity, then fell, and humanity had to rediscover it from scratch a millennium later. The inscriptions provided another charming detail. One of the dials wasn't for planets or stars, but for people. It was a 4-year dial that tracked the cycle of the Pan-Hellenic Games, including the most famous one, the Olympics. This suggests the device wasn't just for elite astronomers, but had a social function as well, helping to coordinate events across the Greek world. It was a cosmic clock and a social calendar rolled into one. So who built it? The leading theory focuses on the island of Rhodes, which was a major center for astronomy and mechanics in the 2nd century BC, the device's likely date of construction. The astronomer Hipparchus, one of the greatest scientists of antiquity, worked there. Some believe the device was built by his school, or perhaps by the great inventor Posidonius. The Roman orator Cicero even described seeing such a device built by Posidonius. The shipwreck itself provides a crucial clue. It was a Roman vessel, likely carrying looted treasures from Greece back to Rome. The mechanism was probably not being used for navigation, it was cargo. A wealthy Roman general or governor had likely stolen or purchased this marvel of Greek engineering to display in his villa as a status symbol. The ship sank in a storm, taking its impossible treasure with it, preserving it by accident for 2,000 years.
Let's revisit the text. It's written in a specific script, Koine Greek, which helps date it precisely. But more than that, the language used is impersonal and scientific, not mystical. This wasn't an object of religious worship. It was a textbook. It was designed to teach a student about the workings of the universe. It is proof that the ancient Greeks' understanding of the cosmos was far more mechanical and mathematical than we ever imagined. Modern engineers have built working replicas based on the CT scans, and they are astonishingly accurate. They confirm that if you were an ancient Greek with this device, you could predict celestial events with a reliability that wouldn't be seen again until the late Renaissance. It is the first known analog computer, a machine that uses physical means to model and calculate complex mathematical problems, and it was made by hand. But a central paradox remains. To build a machine this complex, you need more than just one genius. You need workshops, skilled artisans who can craft tiny gears, and a tradition of precision engineering. Yet archaeologists have found no other devices like this. No prototypes, no simpler versions, no tools used to make them. It's as if the world's only smartphone was found in a medieval castle, with no factories or circuit boards anywhere in sight. Cicero's account is our only textual evidence that the Antikythera Mechanism wasn't unique. He describes a sphere built by Archimedes and another by Poseidonus that showed the motions of the heavens. This suggests there was a tradition of building these devices, but they were likely incredibly rare and valuable. Because they were made of bronze, most were probably melted down for their metal during the turmoil of later centuries, erasing them from history.
The object forces us to reconsider our entire view of the ancient world. We often see it as a time of philosophy and art, but not of complex machinery. The Antikythera Mechanism proves that at least one pocket of that world had reached a level of mechanical engineering that was stunningly advanced. It is a ghost of a scientific revolution that might have been, a glimpse into a different timeline where the industrial age could have started 1,700 years early. So we have a device that calculates the cosmos, predicts eclipses, and tracks the Olympic Games, built 2,100 years ago. It uses technology that would not be reinvented for 1,500 years. It was likely built in Rhodes, stolen by the Romans, and then lost in a shipwreck, a series of accidents that preserved it for us to find. It is a message in a bottle from a lost world of technological genius, a puzzle that took us a century to solve. The story seems complete, a miracle of ancient engineering, lost and found. But here is the final unsettling detail. Recent analysis of the inscriptions has changed everything we thought we knew about its purpose. The text doesn't just describe what the machine does, it describes the color of future eclipses. This isn't science. This is astrology. The machine wasn't just predicting the future, it was designed to interpret it, to read divine messages in the stars. This discovery recasts the entire artifact. It wasn't just a clock or a calendar. It may have been a philosophical machine, designed to demonstrate that the universe was not a chaotic place run by the whims of the gods, but a perfect, predictable, divine mechanism. Its ultimate purpose may not have been scientific, but deeply spiritual. To learn about the philosophical argument hidden in its gears, watch the full investigation.